In a large diocese like ours, where there's an archbishop and several auxiliary bishops, this archbishop inherited a diocese where they had a lot of liturgical dancing, and it somehow crept into the liturgy, and he was keen on removing it as soon as possible. So he sent a letter to all the parishes and asked the priests in the parishes, once we respect the thing that's been happening, we need to respect the liturgy even more, and so this should be stopped immediately. And one of the auxiliary bishops then went to a parish for a mass, and there it was a big mass, and unusually in every parish there's always a small group of people who know much better than the archbishop and all the other people in the church, and decided that out of spite they will have the liturgical dancing. So the bishop didn't know anything about it. The priest knew, he was what was going to happen. Anyway, time for the gospel, the lights went off, a spotlight came on, and in came a dancing girl, and with the liturgical movement up to the sanctuary. And as the girl was coming up to the sanctuary, the bishop turned to the priest and said, "If she wants a head, it'll be your head on the platter." So you see, John's beheading was not caused by a suggestive dance, rather it was caused by poking the bear. John publicly denounced King Herod for what he had done. Now, King Herod Antipas was a tetrarch. He was one of 4 rulers who co-governed ancient Palestine as client kings under the oversight of a Roman governor. So he ruled as king of a Roman client state of Galilee and Perea for over 40 years. He arrested John because of Herodias. Herodias wanted to silence him, she wanted to kill him, she wanted to get rid of him, and so he was arrested. And all this was because John the Baptist was preaching, telling King Herod Antipas that what he was doing was wrong. He married the wife of his brother, his half-brother Philip. And according to the Jewish law, it was not right that she divorced Philip in order to marry Antipas. King Herod Antipas says very clearly that he knew John was a holy man, and he liked to hear John speaking, because when John spoke, the truth that he spoke was beautiful. So he gave him protection in some way. But also he was afraid of John because of the momentum he was gathering in the place. He was afraid to kill him, so instead he imprisoned him. Herodias took advantage of the situation. She was looking to get rid of John the Baptist. She couldn't do it, she had no power to do it publicly. But now an opportunity has arrived. Her daughter, who just danced and dazzled the king and all the people at court on Herod's birthday, was promised anything, even half the kingdom. And so she runs to her mother and asks, "What shall I ask for?" And Herodias uses this opportunity. She seizes the opportunity and she says, "Ask for John the Baptist's head." The daughter goes one step further and says, "Give me the head here and now on a platter." And Herod couldn't back down. He didn't want to back down. He was afraid of his reputation among the court people. He couldn't want to go back on his word. So, out of cowardice and fear, he ordered the execution to take place. And he was responsible for the beheading of John the Baptist, the innocent one. John knew his calling well. He knew that he was sent by God to prepare the way for the Messiah. His role was one of preparation. And he called people to change the way they lived, so that when the Messiah comes, they could recognize the Messiah. But this was to be short-lived. John the Baptist preached of freedom, and yet he himself, in the last months of his life, was in prison. Jesus called him a shining light that had come to prepare the way for the light, but he himself was found in the darkness of the prison. To endure temporal agonies for the sake of the truth was not a heavy burden for people like John, for they knew the eternal joy would be their reward. So you see, each of these people have something to teach us. Herod was so powerful, he had an army behind him, but yet he feared the momentum John was gaining. Out of fear and cowardice, he ordered John the Baptist's execution. He could have easily stood up and said, look, it's not my life to give away. He's not done something bad in order to cut his head off. He could have done it, but he did not. John the Baptist knew exactly what his job was, what his vocation was, what was his purpose. His was there to prepare the way for Jesus, to call people to conversion. Herodias, well, she wanted to silence the truth. It was upsetting her so much. So she waited for an opportunity to get rid of John the Baptist. And when the opportunity arrived, she seized it. She never backed down. So in our lives, God is calling us through the sacrament of baptism to be witnesses of Jesus. And we are called to be this witness of Jesus all the time, not just when it's convenient for us. In this day and age when there's so many contrary values practiced, morals in life each day around us, Jesus is calling us to be his faithful disciples, to witness to his presence in the way we live our life, in the way we act, in the way we treat others, in the way we speak to others. Like Herodias, she used the opportunity that was given to her for a bad end. God gives us opportunities every day. If we seize those opportunities, we can use it for a good end, to bring people close to Jesus by the way we live our life. How many opportunities we miss to be this witness of Jesus in our world. We don't have to go and trumpet all the time the gospel, but we really need to live the gospel faithfully and proudly each day. If people around us don't practice a faith or have no faith, they choose to do that. But you and I have faith. We have this faith given to us at our baptism. We are proud to profess this faith as we say at every baptism. And therefore, the way we live our life, we must be proud to live our life as Christians. If others don't want to live their life and their calling, we should not shy away from it. Before we go off preaching loud to everybody, let's learn to be disciples of Jesus. Proud to be Christian, proud to be a follower of Jesus in the way we live our life relating to others. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.